Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For 31 years, I have refused to speak the language of compromise. For 31 years, I have asked uncomfortable questions and done stories that expose whatever is happening in the corridors of power. And for 31 years, I have taken on the high and mighty. Viewers, I've always been your voice. But today, I want you to be mine. Not because I've lost my voice, but I want you to judge whether the opposition parties, 26 of them, who call themselves the I.N.D.I.A alliance, are trying to muzzle my voice and muzzle my questions. For over 3 decades, I have revealed the hidden hand behind the scams. I exposed the Colgate scam, the CWG scam, the 2G scam, the Aircel Maxis deal, and the ISRO Devas multimedia scam. I even exposed the Office of Profit scam when this channel was just a few months old, 18 years ago, which forced Sonia Gandhi to resign from her position not only as a member of parliament but also the National Advisory Council. I faced the wrath of these people in power, but I have always been unrelenting. Watch these people as they used to come to my shows, but what was all right and absolutely democratic till about 48 hours ago suddenly has turned into a boycott. Suddenly, they are questioning my work, my integrity. And what really has happened now that they are suddenly boycotting me? Watch the direct questions I've asked some of these people in the past. Is this the reason that they don't want to come on my show anymore? Because the questions are deep, the questions are unsparing. Watch and judge for yourself. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. इतिहास आपसे पूछता है कि जब 3 हिंदू को शूट कर दिया था, जब आप मुख्यमंत्री थे, तो आपने क्या?
What is your interview for?
सर्वनंदन, I'm coming. नहीं, पर आपका सेक्युलरिज्म सनातन को गाली देकर आता है, इसीलिए योर सेक्युलरिज्म बोला.
Look, everything I.N.D.I.A decides as a collective.
ये बताइए, इतिहास आपसे पूछता है कि जब 3 हिंदू, टीकालाल टपलू, जस्टिस नीलाकांत गंजू, जब जर्नलिस्ट प्रेमनाथ भट्ट को शूट कर दिया था, और ये सितंबर 1989, अक्टूबर 1989, दिसंबर 1989, जब आप मुख्यमंत्री थे, तो आपने क्या?
What is your interview for? What is your interview for?
My interview is for asking about
Please,
Kashmir.
take it away. I'm not ready to give her interview. She is totally
तो आप?
one-sided BJP person.
मैं बीजेपी की हूं, और कश्मीरी हिंदू किसके हैं? आपके नहीं है. आपके नहीं है फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब. फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब कश्मीर पे सवालों के जवाब नहीं देना चाहते. कश्मीरी हिंदुओं के सवालों के जवाब देना ही नहीं चाहते. मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूं, आज पब्लिक भी ये सवाल पूछ रही है कि डरा हुआ कौन नजर आता है जो 21 पार्टियों को बुला रहा है साथ खड़े होने के लिए ताकि बीजेपी से मुकाबला कर सके, या वो जो अकेले लड़ता चला जा रहा है और 2 बहुमत वाले जनादेश उसे मिले हैं जैसे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को मिले?
एक बात का धन्यवाद तो पूरा देश, और उम्मीद करता हूं कि मीडिया भी राहुल गांधी को देगा कि जो बादशाह सलामत हवा में उड़ने की आदत हो गई थी जिनकी, आज उनको सड़क पर ले आए. भले 1 किलोमीटर के लिए लाए, लेकिन लाए तो सही.
In 2017, Arvind Kejriwal said, and I quote, "Accountability is the key to good governance. Someone must be held accountable and face consequences for inefficiency or wrongdoing." They have explained just this arithmetic that we've been telling you since the last several days. Excise, VAT, profit and price. Those are the questions that the Aam Aadmi Party needs to answer. The Sheesh Mahal was made behind the original house, and that original house by September of 2022 actually was razed down and has become a lawn. A lawn here, a lawn in front. Obviously, this lawn with this house was too small, so this lawn now continues with parking space, etc., etc. And here comes a new house for the new resident. From 309 meters, it's gone up to 1,212 square meters. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, 6 Flagstaff Road bungalow. The I.N.D.I.A today clearly is asking questions. They are angry. And why not? Absolutely justified in being angry and raising questions. Are my questions just too uncomfortable for them? And it's not just me, but my entire network and fraternity of all television channels have refused to bow down. In May this year, Times Network exposed the rupees 53 crore Operation Sheesh Mahal. We revealed how taxpayers' money was used to make a plush palace for Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. We've shown you how it was called just some renovation work and how all rules were put into the dustbin and how taxpayers' money was used in COVID time. In COVID time, when you and I were struggling for our lives, for medicines, for oxygen, there was a Sheesh Mahal that was being built. Then the floodgates opened. Our reporter, Bhavna Kishore, and video journalist Mrityunjay Kumar and our driver Parminder were arrested in Ludhiana, another state ruled by the Aam Party, part of the I.N.D.I.A alliance. Our reporters were heckled, pushed and blocked. 3 of our colleagues were put in jail. And no less than the Punjab and Haryana High Court had to give bail after 3 days. You know all that, viewers. We've shared that pain, that misery with you, and we've exposed, even without that support from anywhere, we've exposed just what was going on. And not one of my reporters bowed down to any pressure. Not even a jail stay could deter them from bringing to you the truth.
हम नहीं जा सकते। नहीं। क्या तो ये
मना करने के बाद
अभी हम अंदर नहीं आ सकते।
नहीं अभी साइड हो जा थोड़ा।
क्या कह रहे हैं अभी आने को मना कर रहे हैं बाबा? क्या कह रहे हैं भाई ये तो बता दो।
भाई ऋषभ भाई ने चैनल बैन है।
देखिए यहाँ पर फिर से दरवाजा खुलने और फिर से कोशिश। भाई क्या दिक्कत क्या है भाई? तो देखिए ये दरवाजा फिर से बड़ी तेजी से दरवाजा खुलता है, बड़ी तेजी से बंद होता है। संजय जी अंदर एंट्री नहीं है तो जवाब कैसे लेंगे? संजय सिंह कह रहे हैं तो हम अंदर जाने की सवाल पूछने की हम सवाल पूछ भाई वो बोल रहे हैं पूछने को। तो देखिए ये देखिए यहाँ पर ये धक्का देके इसी तरह से बाहर किया गया। संजय सिंह ने इशारा किया अंदर आइए।
We just try to enter. We have Gaurav over here. You can see he's also trying to enter. Sir, एंट्री टाइम्स नाउ की बैन है क्या? टाइम्स नेटवर्क की बैन है क्या है? अंदर तो जाने दीजिए पार्टी ऑफिस में तो जाने दीजिए। So there you see they have just closed the door on our face. They're not answering when we are saying that let us enter, let us answer.
अरे ये किस तरह आप रुकिए, इस तरह से आप नहीं कर सकते यहाँ पे। अरे आप इस तरह का व्यवहार नहीं कर सकते, आप इस तरह का व्यवहार नहीं कर सकते हमारे। यार क्या झूठ बोल रहे हैं यार इतना।
Being the judge, jury and executioner, now the I.N.D.I.A alliance has not just censured me, they've put out names of myself and 13 other anchors. Why? Because we are now boycotted. They don't want to speak with us, and this is them serving democracy 2.0. Listen into how they justify what the BJP calls echoes of emergence.
वे कुछ लोग जो भाजपा के मीडिया सेल के व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में हैं, पीएमओ के व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में हैं और दिन रात देश में नफरत फैलाने का काम कर रहे हैं, नफरत फैलाना आईपीसी सेक्शन 153 के अनुसार एक जुर्म है। इस जुर्म में हम उन लोगों का सहयोग नहीं करना चाहते।
मीडिया की आवाज को बंद करने का काम इंदिरा गांधी जी ने, कांग्रेस ने किया था। आज एक बार फिर कांग्रेस और गठबंधन जो इंडी अलायंस, उन्होंने फिर एक बार मीडिया की आवाज को कुचलने का काम किया। और मैं तो ये कहूंगा, इनको तो अपना नाम एंटी अलायंस रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये एंटी सनातन, एंटी डेमोक्रेसी, एंटी दलित, एंटी नेशनल, एंटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और अब एंटी मीडिया हो गए।
What is freedom of expression? Taking wrong messages to the people and cheating the people is the freedom of expression. What they are doing, you think?
Congress mentality is the people or the anchor or the channel or the news agencies, if they talk in their favor, it is good. If they ask some uncomfortable question because they have done corruption, they have always indulged in Tushtikarna Rajniti. When all such questions media ask, they feel uncomfortable.
हम नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, हम किसी चैनल पे बंदी नहीं ला रहे। जो कोई शख्स हमको लगता है कि ये द्वेष फैलाता है दो समाज के बीच में, दो जातियों के बीच में, दो धर्मियों के बीच में, और अफवाहों का मशीन बन जाता है, तो मेरे लिए वो आदमी नाकाम है, बेकाम है। मैं उससे बात ही क्यों करूं? और किसी से बात करना और किसी से नहीं करना ये मेरा व्यक्तिगत अधिकार भी है ना।
The same people who was lecturing us on the freedom of speech, they themselves by boycotting people or news anchor, they have proved their intolerant attitude.
Now let's also remind you how we never bowed down to pressure and exposed even those in positions of power. After Times Now's Operation Sheesh Mahal, we exposed the rupees 53 crore bungalow for Chief Minister Kejriwal. I already reminded you how our reporters were hounded. When Times Now confronted Robert Vadra about ED's money laundering case, he threatened to file a police case against our reporter. Remember, Times Now has also consistently exposed the 210 crore kickbacks charge against top AAP mantris by the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI. And even today, former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has been denied bail in a court of law. In a court of law, not in our court. We just brought to you the stories of the investigation. And what was the response? We'll stop ads, we will not send spokespersons, we will boycott you. And now an official boycott list by not one, by not two, but 28 political parties who claim they're out there to save the constitution and protect democracy. Times Now has also extensively reported from the violence-torn areas of Bengal after the state elections. Victims had narrated to us the sexual assault, arson and apathy. Our channel also exposed the Kerala gold smuggling scam where the Chief Minister Vijayan's aide was named in. And this is why Navika was singled out. Well, my job has always been to ask the question, and so I asked the legitimate question on the NewsHour tonight. Why is the I.N.D.I.A alliance so scared of my questions? If they can't convince the 14 of us journalists, how will they convince 60% of India that they say is opposed to the present government? That's the question, and that's the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate tonight, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, BJP Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament, also official spokesperson. Also joining me this evening, Suhel Seth, columnist, Dr. Suman Sriraman, political analyst, Dr. Akash Deep Muni, political analyst, also on the show. And Akash Deep, I want to ask you, शीश महल का प्राइज दिया आपने हमें बॉयकॉट करके, थैंक यू, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। पर इतना डर गए इन सवालों से अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कि वोटर ही बन गए बॉयकॉट ब्रिगेड के?
देखिए नाविका जी, कोई आपको बॉयकॉट नहीं कर रहा, बट एक कल्चर जो है पत्रकारिता का जो नीचे जा रहा है उसको बॉयकॉट किया जा रहा है और उसको बॉयकॉट करने की जरूरत भी है। मुझे लगता है कि ना, आप मुझे 30 सेकंड में कुछ फैक्ट रखने के लिए, मैं आपको पर्सनली कुछ नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, बट इन ए लार्जर पर्सपेक्टिव हम आपने पिछले 68 शोज किए डिबेट्स के, उसमें से 29 कम्युनल इश्यूज पे किए, 13 एंटी ओपोजिशन पे किए, एक पाकिस्तान पे किया, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट और इन्फ्लेशन पे 0 किया है, जो एक्चुअली इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज है जो होना चाहिए। एक चैनल, सिर्फ आपकी एग्जांपल नहीं दे रहा हूँ, दूसरे चैनल्स की भी एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ जो एक चैनल के
सबने वो डिजिटल मीडिया जो फैक्ट चेक करता है और सबको ये भेजता है, ये हम सबके पास डेटा है। मैं आपको ऑथेंटिक डेटा चैनल से भेज दूंगी। प्लीज डोंट रिलाई ऑन suspicious data that has not been given to you from an official
data verbatim with your permission.
No, you can't. I will not allow you to quote here suspect data. Make the point and make it specifically about me, because I'm talking about my name on the boycotted list.
No, I'm not. See, I'm seriously appalled that when Amit Malviya puts a tweet that BJP boycotts NDTV and so abruptly, then nobody cries foul. But when if certain section of media is not given interviews, they cry foul. When a owner of a news channel says that when you become the finance minister, when you become the home minister, when you become the prime minister, we will cover you, and we will, till then will not cover you. It means that, you have been and I have been learning journalism since our early days, and we know that.
Well then, Akash Deep Muni, your facts are so all over the place. Listen to some facts, and Suhel Seth, I want to put the facts to you. Please ask anybody, and you might know, or I can't ask, maybe you can ask the Congress party, because I've been boycotted. They will not answer my questions, though some leaders have been saying Namaste Madam Ji to me today on messages. If I show those messages on air, might be a little embarrassing for them. And these politicians I've known for 30 years. I met them first as a young reporter 31 years ago, but for the sake of some ethics, I will not reveal the names. But maybe Mr. Suhel Seth, you can ask the Congress party on how many times I have personally met them and asked them that it is undemocratic to boycott. Please be on my channel, be on my show, say what you have to say, and I, as an anchor, can always assure you that you will get your time. And I maintain that on my show. I give time to anybody who wants to make a point, and I am democratic about it. At least I think so. But Suhel Seth, why would they not take that opportunity and then come out with this list? Oh, boycott these people. Do you think these 14 names are the only reason the opposition has not been able to win elections in the past? Now, in 2024, they will win 450 seats?
So here are a couple of things. Number one, I'm wearing black in solidarity with you. It's a dark day for democracy. It's a dark day for you. I went to South Extension, asked the Chole Kulche wala, यहाँ कौन-कौन रहता है? And they said, वो boycott madam भी यहाँ पे ही हैं. I said, means? So you become well known. A, B, jokes apart, I think the seriousness has to be taken in its contextual form. A party or an alliance of parties need the media more than anyone else does during election time. You may have a point of view which is contrarian. I may disagree with you. But as Narayan Murthy famously once said, you can disagree without being disagreeable. You have left and created an open hand for the BJP. Because the BJP will say, look, this is unke lakshan pehle bhi the, ab bhi hain. Number one. Number two, Akash Deep laid out facts which are right or wrong, I don't know. You know, this was done, this was done, this was done. But look at the irony. You are singling out individuals. If you had the courage, I wanted to use another word, if you had the courage, you'd have isolated the channels. How can you have one person in India today being boycotted and 3 others being loved and hugged? Where is the fairness of that? Is the individual there? A, B. The issue today is the media the only organization that is creating hate? If it is, then it can easily be called out, either by the Press Council of India, taken to the Supreme Court, blah, blah, blah. You're not doing that. You're saying, I will arbitrarily drop a list of 14 people. 14 people, put your hand down, it'll come up in a minute. 14 people who've had an illustrious career or illustrious careers, people as Navika told you, as has she. This is not the way to target. This is very Hitlerian in its approach, because you're identifying the houses, you're marking the houses that will be targeted. Let me also tell you one thing, and no one has identified this. No one has identified this particular point, Navika. You're the only person who continues to invite even suspended members of political parties and gives them more speaking time than you give us. So in my estimate, you're far more compassionate than half these other guys are. It's not about boycott or ban. It's been a culture. Remember, 1 minute, let me finish. You're not the anchor. I mean, these people, young people, don't even know how to debate here. So here's the thing. Pandit Nehru was upset about Sahil Ludhianvi's words in Pyasa. What happened? Sahil Ludhianvi's songs were never played on All India Radio. We know what Sanjay Gandhi did with Kishore Kumar. We know about the emergency, but I don't want to go there. This is not a time to talk about democracy is in peril in India when you're abroad, and then 1 minute, and she's the anchor. You're not the anchor. You're not the anchor. You're not the anchor. I can filibuster better than you can. I can filibuster better than you can. Point I'm making is target what? Target what?
Young people of India drive this country.
I said the young don't know how to debate. Just relax. Don't make it political. This is the problem. You see, Navika, these guys don't have a cerebral point to make. So they will make a point out of visceral hatred. How do you target 3 million people, 3 billion people? Let me finish, yeah. Let me finish. Your filibustering won't go anywhere.
Akash Deep Muni, आपको तो पूरा हक है. You can abuse us, but we cannot say anything about your yourselves. Everybody has freedom of speech, just as you do. You have freedom of speech, you have freedom of decision. This is the outcome of that. Suhel Seth has his own freedom of speech and he can be allowed 10 seconds more. Suhel Seth, complete your point.
You have very wise senior people here, Sudhanshu, Sumant, everyone. The issue is at a time when abroad people are saying democracy in India is at peril. To then have the press or sections of the press being boycotted further fuels fires. To my mind, it was avoidable. If you didn't want to appear, you needn't have appeared. You needn't have made a public announcement about it. I saw one of the tweets, I think it was someone's tweet or someone's tweet.
And that's the point.
That,
and that's the point. The Congress officially does not appear on our channel. But I want to show you clips. Just about maybe 2 months ago, Mr. Pawan Khera, the man who announced, he's the official spokesperson of the Congress party, the man who announced the boycott, actually gave me an interview. Mr. Pawan Khera himself. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal was fine to give me an interview just 3-4 months ago, and then Sheesh Mahal happened. So out I go. I'm undemocratic and I'm creating hate. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Sheesh Mahal exposure is tantamount to creating hate. Exposing the liquor scam, is it tantamount to showing hate on television? I want to ask you, what is the definition of hate for which we are being called out and boycotted?
Actually, Navika ji, I would give the answer of this question in two perspectives. First, I would like to remind one more thing, which you have done as a journalist, which your channel has done. You people have might forgotten. In 2015, when that Lalit Modi episode came, how aggressive your channel was on the issue of BJP, taking the name of late Sushma Swaraj ji and Vasundhara ji. I remember on 25th of June 2015, I was doing press. I remember the date because it was the 40th anniversary of emergency. And your channel journalist and several other journalists were more aggressively asking the question to us on those issues, not an emergency issue. But we have welcomed that. What's the issue? The issue here is the mindset of the Congress party. It is not boycott. It is bashing of media. It is threatening of media. As Suhel Seth ji has said, you remember, Majroor Sultanpuri was put in jail for 2 years because he has written an article that Nehru's style of functioning resembles with Hitler. And he has given an example of Srimati Indira Gandhi. Forget about that. उनके जमाने में तो ये कहा गया कि अब तो गालिब जोक साहिर मीर सरकारी शायरी की हो गई तासीर सरकारी. The poetry has to be vetted by the government. And come to Rajiv Gandhi's time, the Post and Telegraph Bill. The government has enacted a parliament, a bill in which the government was entitled to open letters of anybody and read. If anything is objectionable, then they can take action. Because of Jani Jail Singh, it couldn't do it today. If I can give a similarity, that government should act a parliament, get an act from parliament that all emails they can read, all messages they can read, all WhatsApp they can read, and if anything objectionable, the action will be taken on the person. And now they are talking about freedom. I just say it is nothing but an promulgation of the infallibility decree. Because the arrogance is so high, as Prime Minister has said, Ghamandiya, I am blue blood, how dare you talk about me? And why it is happening, I will tell you, 75 years of independence have come. 1947 we got independence, but the democracy was not mature. The fiefdom was going. So the kings, royals, nababs, they were thinking कि भाई दूसरे को नजर झुका के बात करनी चाहिए. सजदे में निगाह रहे, तमाम होश शुक्रत पेश बादशाह रहे. तो अगर किसी ने आंख में आंख मिला के बात कर ली, that was considered. Look at the manner in which they are talking. Then real democracy came in 77 when the government started changing. Then the democracy in media started, the monopoly of one thought. It started dithering in the vernacular media at the time of Ram Janmabhoomi movement in 90s. Now it has coming in the national media in the last 10 years. It is nothing but a churning process in which the democracy in the media and the intellectual establishment is getting democratized. So those who are having an absolute monopoly and considering by way of entitlement that it is my entitlement that it should remain a monopoly with us, they are having the problem. तो मुझे लगता है कांग्रेस का माइंडसेट है धमकाने वाला उसके तहत. और ऑन द लाइटर नोट मैं एक और बात कहना चाहता हूं नाविका जी, एक और बात भी हो सकती है जो हम और आप नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं. यह कांग्रेस के अंदर के प्रवक्ताओं का दर्द हो सकता है. हो सकता है उन्होंने अपनी लीडरशिप पे दबाव बनाया हो कि भाई कभी आप डेंगू बोल दोगे, कभी मलेरिया बोल दोगे, कभी HIV बोल दोगे, सनातन धर्म को गरिया दोगे, भैया हम कहां कहां तक डिफेंड करेंगे. उसके बाद कड़े कड़े क्वेश्चन पूछता है एंकर, हम कैसे उसको झेल पाएंगे, भैया हमसे ना हो पाएगा, तुम कोई रास्ता निकालो. तुमने भी आउट ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन एंड आउट ऑफ अटर डेस्परेशन उन्होंने ऐसा किया हो. ये मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूं कि जैसे सुहेल सेठ जी ने कहा कि एक ही चैनल में आप एक को छोड़ रहे हैं, एक को कर रहे हैं, वो तो ठीक है. आपने कुछ ऐसे लोगों के नाम लिखे जो डिबेट शो करते ही नहीं. इट मींस इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद डिबेट. It means it has nothing to do with the question asked from your party. It is an absolute, utter frustration because you are not ready to face the consequence. Maybe your spokesperson would have said it is becoming impossible to defend the indefensible and face the wrath. जैसे कि एक जमाने में होता था ना, वेस्ट इंडीज की बहुत तेज बॉलिंग आती थी तो लोग कहते थे भाई हेलमेट लगाए बगैर नहीं जा, बगैर हेलमेट जाना तो मैं बैटिंग करने जाऊंगा ही नहीं. हो सकता है ये भी रहा हो, हमें नहीं पता कि ये दर्द है या गुस्सा है या अहंकार है या विवशता है.
Well, Suman C. Raman, you know, in 2004, I still remember Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav, and at that time I used to work for the Indian Express. Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav used clippings of my story against BJP leaders and ministers in the Vajpayee government, distributed them in Chhapra, and defeated a senior minister of the Vajpayee government based on my story. And that was also against the BJP Sarkar of Vajpayee at that point in time. And then I exposed the land scam of Lalu Prasad Yadav and his family. So now they are part of the I.N.D.I.A alliance, so I'm on the boycott list. अरे भाई, मेरा ही स्टोरी लेकर आपने छपरा में बंटवाया था और उसके बाद मुझे ही बैन कर रहे हैं क्योंकि मैंने अब आपका स्टोरी निकाल दिया. So I was very acceptable then because I did a story against a BJP minister. Today I'm unacceptable because I'm doing stories against Lalu ji, I'm doing stories against Kejriwal ji, I've done stories against the Congress party, and therefore I'm on the boycott list. Well, badge of honor, but slightly whimsical, Sumant Siraman, would you think?
Yeah. Navika, I think there are 2-3 very quick points. The role of journalism is to hold truth to power. So therefore, the journalist naturally has to be at least slightly antagonistic to whoever is in power, because that is the nature of journalism itself. Now, you spoke wonderfully about the scams that you unearthed during the UPA time.
And before that,
that you did,
my friend, even before that, during the Vajpayee time, Pramod Mahajan, pick up my stories from there.
Very good, wonderful, very good. Now, my only question is, what happened from 2015? The whole point is, Navika, the boycott of that the I.N.D.I.A alliance has announced has nothing to do even with the fact that the scams or any anti-government stories in the last 8 to 10 years have not significantly emerged is not the point. I think the point that has been made is the attempt to polarize, which may sort of fit in with what the ruling party would like to have done, is something that is extremely dangerous.
So let me ask you, the Sheesh Mahal expose, was it a polarizing story? Why was Bhavna Kishore put in jail? A hapless young reporter put in jail for a story broken by the editor of the channel? I want to ask you, what is polarizing about Sheesh Mahal?
Let me finish.
No, I'm asking you a question. Please answer this as well.
Debates on Hindu-Muslim issues. That numbers came out, 68, those numbers were given to you, I think right at the start of the show. How many of these debates tend to be on Hindu-Muslim issues, creating polarization, divisiveness in society? And I think that really is something, look,
all
it
right.
may fit.
So the DMK leaders cannot be blamed. The DMK leaders, part of the I.N.D.I.A alliance, cannot be blamed, but I have to be blamed because I picked up an issue that is in the news space being spoken about politically and in the society outside. How fair is that, Suhel Seth?
No, I think Sumant's point. I just want to layer something that Sumant was referring to. See, the thing is, and I don't know if the other panelists agree, if the alliance had its representatives on your show, there would have been a voice. Because to be fair, all the alliance representatives get their fair share of voice. And I'm not joking. I've seen a lot of the alliance members who appear on your shows get their fair share of voice. My concern is that now that voice chamber will be empty. That's number one. Number two, what four of us are discussing with you, Navika, is an echo chamber. We know about the boycott. We know that there are intricacies, there is polarizations, belief, blah, blah, blah. The common citizen will now have no contrarian view to the ruling party. So in many ways, it's a self-goal, because I will not have any other voice that will be able to tell me on all these. See, these are not small channels. I can understand if these channels had zero viewership or limited viewership. Let's say I'm not coming on Navika's program and Akash Deep wants to say something, let's say, on the alliance's behalf. And let's imagine, because he has been told by his principals that, look, you can't appear on any of these channels. So Navika's channel or Navika's program is bereft of his presence. So my point is, I'm just making a strategic thing. I'm not passing judgment. How do they address this issue? Who and how will you circumvent the fact that you will be absent and silent on a large part of the media?
Absolutely. And Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, you know, there have been several statements made by BJP leaders as well. In fact, in our last interview with the Prime Minister, we've even asked him about BJP members of parliament and what action would be taken against them for praising Godse. We've asked none other than the Prime Minister himself. Now, that is not speaking truth to power. Is Mr. Suman Siraman, Dr. Suman Siraman, being selective about the truth, number one? And number two, does he forget that news is the judgment of the journalist, the editor, and not the judgment of the politician or the doctor?
Actually, Suman Siramanji was saying that there were some polarizing issues on the Hindu-Muslim issues. Yes, he might be thinking, because now the democracy in media is coming. It's also having a Hindu issue, it's also having the Muslim issue. Before 2014, it was only Muslim issue, pro-Muslim issue, and Hindu bashing issue. Hindu was terrorist, saffron was terrorism, Zakir Naik was Shanti ka Masiha, Afzal was Halat ka Mara, Ishrat Jahan was Beti, Hafiz was Sahat. And Yaqub Menon was having judicial killing. And Muslims were having first right over the national resources of India. And Hindus were intolerant, backward. What I would like to remind, the 13 days government of Vajpayee ji, when Sushma Swaraj ji spoken on parliament, anybody can go and check that speech, कि इस देश में सेकुलर होने का मतलब था कि आप हिंदू होने पे शर्म का अनुभव करें, और इंटेलेक्चुअल होने का मतलब था कि हिंदुओं को गाली दे सकें. ये सेकुलरिज्म हमें एक्सेप्ट नहीं है. ये था एस्टैब्लिश्ड नॉर्म. और मैं आपको एक पत्रकारिता का फैक्ट बता देता हूं. उस जमाने में एनीबडी कैन गो एंड चेक ऑन 30th of October 1990, जिस दिन अयोध्या में गोलियां चली थी, वो वाली कार सेवा, नॉट 6 दिसंबर 92, 30th of October 1990. पहले लेवल ऑफ प्रेस फ्रीडम जानते क्या था? ऑल फ्लाइट्स टू लखनऊ कैंसिल, ऑल ट्रेन टू लखनऊ कैंसिल, ऑल बसेस कैंसिल, ऑल प्राइवेट व्हीकल्स कैंसिल, ऑल एसटीडी लाइंस ब्लॉक्ड. और उसके बाद क्या हुआ, चेक कर सकते हैं 3 बजे का दूरदर्शन और आकाशवाणी का बुलेटिन, और रात 9 बजे का दूरदर्शन का समाचार, दूरदर्शन क्या कर, कुछ नहीं हुआ. दे सेड. And next day morning, Times of India and Navbharat Times were having the photos कि कैसे कार सेवक गुंबद पे चढ़े हो के वहां पे भगवा ध्वज लहराए हुए, इसलिए 2 नवंबर को गोली चलवाई गई. Such type of shameful journalism was done. Totally झूठ बोलना लोगों के साथ.
And I want to you know, say some facts to you.
दिखाओ, दूसरा दिखाओ नहीं.
Absolutely, and I want to tell our viewers some facts. Anant Kumar Hegde, BJP leader, attack on Muslims in the past, debated on this channel. Pravesh Verma, Delhi member of parliament of the BJP, and his statements about economic boycott of one community, debated on this channel. Cow vigilante incidents, debated on these channels by the same boycotted anchor. And not just all of this. Gyanvapi, Kashi Mathura, these issues are Hindu-Muslim issues, but they are in court. The courts can talk about it, the matters can go into court, but news channels should not debate it because it will be counted in the Hindu-Muslim, database that is sprung up. Give me a break, my friend. May I tell you a secret today? I just want to tell you that in the liberal era of 2004 to 14, I was even called regressive because I kept the Karwa Chauth Vrat. Well, I continue to do so. I believe in it. I will keep it. I do not believe anybody else has a right to say that to me. And even today, I happen to be probably the only primetime anchor in a sari and a Mangal Sutra because it is my choice. Regressive, not liberal, too bad. And that's the way my journalism is. I don't suit you, too bad. I will continue to do what I do. I will continue to ask the question, and no boycott is going to deter me. I leave it at that.